Welcome in, writers. I'm Robin Millum. I'm an author and a teacher, and I take everything that I have learned and teach it to you so that you can learn how to write quickly and efficiently and easily. And today might look a little bit different from our other videos because this is the final video in the Essential Skills playlist that we're working on. This skill that we're going to talk about today is show, don't tell. But I want to do a little recap so we can see where we've been. We started this off with voice. So if you're new here, watch this video and then go back to the very beginning and start with voice. That one is super important so that you can get the confidence that you need and start learning how to write with different perspectives. Then we worked on hooks. And the third skill was sentence complexity. Make sure you do a really deep dive with that one because you'll use that for all modes of writing. Fourth was figurative language. Then we did vivid imagery, and now we're doing show, don't tell. So what is show, don't tell? It's a writing technique that paints a picture for the reader using actions, senses, dialogue, instead of just stating the facts or the emotions. So with show, don't tell, it's actually easy if you just tell something. And I wanted to bring this to your attention because it's oftentimes what we do on default when we're writing. We know what our character is feeling. We know what's going on, so we just say it. But it's a little too easy. And when something is too easy, it's actually boring for your reader. So showing is harder, but it's what real authors do. They take the time to put these little bits of information in there that will help your reader solve a puzzle and try and figure out what's going on here. And it's much more enjoyable for them. So let's start with this telling sentence. I was scared. That word scared is a label. I'm telling you straight up how the person feels. It's like a label you would give to a food or a plant or anything, a car. That's a label. But with showing, you would say, my hands shook as I turned the rusty doorknob. So we're not saying what the emotion is. We're giving you body language. What is the person doing? What's happening to them in this moment? And that creates a puzzle. And if you've been listening to me through this series, you know I say that a lot. Create a little puzzle for your reader. It makes it so much more enjoyable for them and they'll want to keep reading on. So what does telling look like? Here are some telling sentences. I felt nervous. She was mad. We're labeling an emotion. These are called emotion labels, and they tell us what the character feels, but they don't help us see it, hear it, or feel it. So let's show instead. Let's take the sentence, I felt nervous. You could say, my stomach flipped as I stepped up to the microphone. This is body language. This is what is happening to them physically. And your reader might think, well, that's happened to me. My stomach went wild one time when I tried to get onto a stage, and they'll realize that this is a feeling they've had before, and they can figure out quickly, oh, I bet the character is nervous. So let's do she was mad. She slammed her locker shut and muttered something that made her friends back away. So now we haven't used the word mad. We're showing what she's doing there. And we're also creating a scene. Do you see how it's much more visual and you can picture that as opposed to she was mad? It's just not enough. So let's do telling versus showing here. Let's start with he was tired. If you'd like, you could pause it here and try it on your own and then come back and see what I wrote. So instead of he was tired, you could say his eyelids drooped and he yawned so wide it made the cat jump off his lap. Which you might be able to picture that. If you've ever had a cat, you know that for some reason, if you yawn or stretch or something like that, exaggerated, they will hop right off your lap. So go try it. Now I'm going to show you an emotion thesaurus. And a thesaurus means two words that mean the same. And an emotion thesaurus, I'm going to give you a list of emotions and then what could be happening instead of just labeling that moment. So for example, instead of saying someone is nervous, you could say their knees were bouncing, biting their lips, tapping fingers, darting eyes. If you're angry, clenched fist, stiff shoulders, narrowed eyes, stomping away. Embarrassed, face turning red, looking down, fake laughing, hiding behind a book. If you're excited, grinning wide, bouncing on toes, blurting out words, clapping hands. Scared, backing away, frozen in place, whispering, holding breath. Or bored, sighing loudly, slumping in their seat, staring at the ceiling, drumming fingers. So if you're in a class, it would be great to have an emotion thesaurus on your wall that you all create together, so that at any time when you are writing and you realize you've come across a situation where someone is feeling an emotion, just look at your list and pull from those examples so that you can show and not tell. Let's talk about dialogue. You may have heard said is dead. Use this instead. But actually, said isn't dead. And it's the words that are around it that are going to do the showing. So you do not need to use fancy replacements like growled, hissed, shouted, or cried. You may have done that in the past. But I want you to now let the dialogue and the body language do the work. It will make your writing sound so much more sophisticated. So let's take this example. I don't want to talk about it, she whispered angrily. You can replace whispered and angrily with something completely different, because right now you're telling us two things, that she's angry and she whispered it, which doesn't quite match up with anger. So instead, you could do, I don't want to talk about it, she said, shoving her chair back so hard it screeched. So now not only are you creating a small puzzle for your reader that they will try and figure out, oh, clearly she's angry. You've created a whole visual image in your head. It's like a scene from a movie. So sometimes dialogue tags can be overdone. And I want you to listen to this example. And this is how I don't want you to do it. We're going to be late, she shouted. No, we're not, he whispered. You always say that, she growled. Well, maybe you should learn to relax, he snapped. Do you hear that rhythm? It's actually not enjoyable for your reader. It just doesn't feel natural. So what if you did something like this instead? We're going to be late. No, we're not. You always say that. Maybe you should learn to relax. Now, if you notice here, I didn't use anything. I only used the dialogue back and forth. And you can do this too. If you have two people talking in your story and it is clear who is talking, you can take a small little snippet and take everything out. Just have the banter back and forth. Your reader loves quick, snappy dialogue like that. And that's how you do it. So we're going to see this in action. We're going to look at Percy Jackson. I'm going to read this passage to you. The whole group laughed. Mr. Brunner stopped his story. Mr. Jackson, he said, did you have a comment? My face was totally red. I said, no, sir. Mr. Brunner pointed to one of the pictures on the steel. Perhaps you'll tell us what this picture represents. So notice in this one, he uses the word said just a couple of times. And if it were me, I probably would have even taken out that second said. I probably would have written, my face was totally red. No, sir. You could do that and not even have the word said there. And he also did a body language or some action before the dialogue so that we know that it was Mr. Brunner talking, because Mr. Brunner stopped his story and then said Mr. Jackson. So we don't have to say Mr. Brunner said. Let's look at one more example. Here I have a whole entire page for you. And there's a reason why I did this. This is a fantastic example of everything that I just taught you, of how to use all of these things in tandem, all at the same time. So if you're in a class, what I'd like for you to do is pause and read this page together, and then start to talk about the things that I circled and underlined and highlighted, and see if you can figure out what each of them meant. So the red circles, I circled told, said, and said. So on that whole page, he only used the said word and told 3 times. That was it. Very little sprinkling of that in there. Then I put 6 different yellow highlighter marks on here. Can you figure out why? Pause here and talk with someone. See if you can figure out why I drew those in the spots that I did. Now, these yellow highlighter marks come after dialogue where there's nothing else. It's just like that snappy dialogue that I was showing you earlier. It helps keep the rhythm going quickly. If you don't need anything, you don't have to put it there. And at the bottom in the green, that is body language. It gives you more information and it's put before the dialogue in this case. So if you do a mixture of said, body language, and nothing, you're going to make your action and your moment and the visual so much better and so much more enjoyable for your reader. So here's your quick challenge. You're going to turn these telling sentences into showing sentences. And when you revise, which you should do every time after you write, short or long, revise, ask yourself, can the reader picture what's happening like a movie scene? And did I use actions, body language, senses instead of emotion words? So no labels in your writing. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And teachers, look below for the free handout that goes with this skill. Thanks.